country has been boiling over with anger. Demonstrators are said to be storming the Muslim Brotherhood's headquarters in Cairo. Reports say that a protester was killed in the south of the capital. Now, these are live pictures from the Egyptian presidential palace, although is that Tahrir Square? Anyway, opposition activists are demanding the resignation of the Islamist leader, saying his policies have failed. Clashes are being reported between rival groups in cities north of Cairo, with the offices of the Egypt's Muslim Brotherhood torched. Now, Saeed Sadek from the American University in Cairo believes that another uprising could be imminent if the Islamist president hasn't delivered on his promises.
The president, one, is not honoring the objectives of the revolution. Two, he was consolidating his own group at the expense of the national interests of the country. And also they felt that if they remain silent until his term ends 4 years, Egypt would become like Somalia or Sudan. There are a lot of fears that Egypt would be, the Egyptian revolution is going to be hijacked like what happened in the Iranian revolution by those Islamists who wanted the society to sleep and stay put and do not intervene and let them do what they want. The whole Arab Spring is about calling to account the government, and now they feel they have to call the account the president, because after 1 year he failed to deliver what people expect.
Well, of course, Egypt has been riled up in anger, and we do have our contributor, Belle True, here on the line for us. Belle, you have been, you're outside of the presidential palace right now. You've been to both rallies. Tell us a little bit about what you've seen on the ground, the difference perhaps in the atmosphere between the two.
Well, what we're seeing here is jubilant but defiant scenes, as you can see, hundreds of thousands of people have gathered against President Mohamed Morsi on the first year of his year in office. The resounding cry here, like on Tahrir Square, is Erhal, which means leave. What they're saying is that President Mohamed Morsi is not fit to govern the country anymore, that he needs to step down, and that this is a make-or-break moment. The grassroots campaign who organised these protests, which is called the Marad or Rebels, say they have actually collected 22 million signatures calling for the president's ouster. They asked political parties to leave their own banners and flags at home. So as you can see behind me, there is a sea of Egyptian flags and people holding red cards resembling those you'd find in a football match. A symbol, they say, the president must leave. People were bracing themselves for violence, but so far here in the capital, things have been fairly quiet. Meanwhile, just a few kilometers away, the Islamists are staging their own demonstration in a nearby mosque. They say the president was democratically elected, that he should stay. The only way that he should leave office is through the ballot box. They say that 1 year is not long enough to fix all the problems in the Hosni Mubarak regime. However, people here are very, very determined that they will not leave the palace and Tahrir until the president steps down. So what we're really seeing is a divided Egypt. On one side, supporters of the president, and on the other side, those who are against him, which really, we're not going to see this end anytime soon.
And Belle, these divisions certainly prompt fears, at least, of potential clashes. It seems like that hasn't gotten to that level yet. I'm curious about the police presence there. You had tweeted earlier that there wasn't as much visible presence at one of the rallies. Has that changed? What are the authorities doing to prevent outright clashes between these two divided groups?
Well, we have seen violence outside of the capital between opposing groups. In particular, the Muslim Brotherhood, the group that the president hails from, their offices have been targeted, in particular in the northern part of Egypt, in the Nile Delta. This is becoming a worrying trend of protesters firebombing and ransacking these offices that have actually led to deaths in the last week. We're also seeing civilians increasingly armed and bringing these weapons to protests. So these civilian-on-civilian clashes are really quite violent. People were gearing themselves up here in the capital to something similar. So far, it hasn't happened. The military are on standby should the situation disintegrate. They have, however, said that they won't get involved in politics, but should the situation escalate any further, they will be forced to step in. The police, for their part, attempt to contain this violence. However, what commentators say is that they are badly trained and unable to deal with these very volatile situations, and often make the situation worse using heavy amounts of tear gas, which aggravates the two sides even more. So people are still holding their breath for further violence in the coming days. At the moment here in the capital, it's peaceful, but we have to see whether the worst is yet to come.
Well, let's certainly hope that there is no worse to come, but of course these things could escalate at any moment, as we all know. Belle, thank you so much for keeping us up to date on that.